Today, I'll be going over the different types of submachine guns in Call of Duty Vanguard and a description of their real-life counterpart. I'll go over each gun individually and then provide a summarized description of how they compare to each other. A submachine gun is a lightweight firearm that is intended for automatic fire. Call of Duty Vanguard has 6 main submachine guns: the MP40, the PPSH-41, the Type 100, the M1928, the Sten gun, and the Owen gun. Now, Call of Duty Vanguard also has more submachine guns, but I'll be going over the main ones. Let's take a closer look at each of these weapons. The MP40 was a submachine gun developed by Nazi Germany and used by the Axis powers. Its predecessor was the MP38, designed by Heinrich Vollmer. Over 1 million were produced in the duration of World War II. The only mode of fire for this gun is the automatic. This rifle was one of 2 main rifles that German soldiers would have carried, the second being the Karabiner 98K. Towards the end of the war, it began to get replaced with the STG-44. The PPSH-41 was a submachine gun used by the Soviet Union during World War II. During the Winter War with Finland, in which the Finns used these submachine guns, and the German invasion, the Soviet Union realized they needed a capability similar. It was the cheapest and easiest submachine gun thus far for them to produce, and a simplistic gun in itself. By 1945, upwards of 5 million had been produced. It had gone out of service by the late 1950s, but was still seen in communist-backed countries for years later. The Type 100 submachine gun was a Japanese-produced submachine gun during World War II, the only one that Japan produced. Deployment of the gun began in 1942, but with low numbers. By 1944, though, the demand had greatly increased and they started to amplify production. However, to speed up the process, they changed the model to a different variant. About 7,500 of these submachine guns were produced in total. The M1928 was a submachine gun used by both the British and Americans in World War II. They were first designed in 1919, however rejected by the US military. The gun was then marketed to the civilian population, who made it widespread during the Prohibition era. By 1942, the M1 and its variants were the standard weapons of the US Army, in which close to 3 million models have been produced. The Sten gun was used by British and Commonwealth forces during World War II and the Korean War. It was the second produced submachine gun of World War II, with over 4 million produced. When facing invasion by Germany, the Army needed to replace lost weapons, but could not afford the expensive M1928s that the United States had. Instead, they opted for much cheaper Sten guns that provided them defense. About 4.5 million Stens were produced during World War II. The Owen gun was an Australian submachine gun produced during World War II and used for 30 years by the Australian Army. It was found to be more accurate and reliable than the Sten and the Thompson. Almost 50,000 were produced from 1942 to 1944. The Owen continued to be used in the Korean and Vietnam Wars until replaced in 1971. This concludes the submachine gun overview for the weapons in Call of Duty Vanguard. Let me know what next weapon category you want to see done. Thank you.